So you sell the business, and
Took 2 years.
Took 2 years.
Yep.
And
Sold it to a guy named John Pritzker, whose father started Hyatt. And now the company Joie de Vivre is part of Hyatt. And then I didn't know what was next. For those of you who've seen the movie The Intern, Robert De Niro, Anne Hathaway,
Yeah.
he has a great quote in that movie where he says, "Musicians don't retire. They quit when there's no more music left inside of them." So it took me a couple of years. So by the time I sold the company, I was just about 50. And I knew I wanted to share my music with someone, figuratively speaking. I just wasn't sure who wanted to, play music with me.
Okay.
And
you wanted to do it differently.
I know, yeah, I didn't want to go start another boutique hotel company. I had been one of the early boutique hoteliers in the United States, along with Ian Schrager and Bill Kimpton. And so I didn't want to go do the thing I'd done for so long. I'd created 52 boutique hotels. But I wasn't sure what it was that was next. I then started a company called Fest 300 that featured the 300 best festivals in the world. And so I thought maybe my job was to be the world's leading expert on festivals, going around the world to all kinds of festivals and religious pilgrimages. I went to 36 festivals in 20 countries. That was beautiful. But about the time I was starting that, I got a call from Brian Chesky, one of the 3 millennial co-founders of Airbnb. The company was a really small but fast-growing tech company. And what he said to me is, we want to be a global hospitality brand and giant. And no one in the company has any hospitality or travel background, nor has anybody in the company actually ever started a business before. You're an entrepreneur, hospitality entrepreneur. You have a lot of leadership experience. We'd love to have you join us. You would be my in-house mentor, head of global hospitality and strategy. And I said, sure, I'll do it 15 hours a week. But within 3 weeks, I realized this was 15 hours a day, and I had to dive deep into being full-time. And I did 4 years of full-time work helping them steer the rocket ship, and now 2.5 years of being a strategic advisor.
Okay, and how early was that for Airbnb? Because they were Y Combinator, right?
They're Y Combinator, so it was after Y Combinator, but we back then were about 1/20th the size or 1/25th the size of what we are today. So tiny relative.
Like 100 employees or not even?
No, they're actually about 250 to 300 employees. Okay. So can't tell you how many employees we have now because we're in IPO period at some point in the future. But we're dramatically larger than that now. Okay. We were a global company and we did have some offices around the world, but we hadn't become what was called a global network effects business yet at that point. We had a lot of growth to do.
Okay. All right, so you get that call. Wow, what a fascinating call. Would you come and kind of mentor us?
First of all, I said, look, what's Airbnb?
Really?
I said, are you a subsidiary of Couchsurfing? I didn't know much about Airbnb. I was this guy who had been a pioneer in the hospitality space as a boutique hotelier at age 26. But at age 50, I was now with the establishment. And I hadn't really seen the next wave coming.
Okay.
Didn't really understand home sharing, had never heard of the sharing economy, did not have an Uber or Lyft app on my phone. So I was in some ways a bit of a laggard to the table. So I had to immediately sort of immerse myself and say, does this business plan make sense? What can I add here? And what's the strategy if I'm in charge of strategy, what's the strategy that's gonna take us to become potentially, a global brand and one that people are aware of. And, I decided to jump in, but I thought initially what they really needed, since I was almost twice the age of the average employee there and 21 years older than Brian, who I was mentoring as the CEO, but who was also my boss, I thought it was like I had like the wisdom I was going to share with them or the knowledge. And what became clear the first week was like, whoa, Chip, you've never been in a tech company before. I had no clue what they were talking about. And so I realized very quickly that I was as much the intern as I was the mentor. So I was sort of like a mentern, like a mentor and an intern at the same time, because I really had to learn the tech industry and what product meant and et cetera really quickly.